Fool's Journey. Now that our friend the Fool has finally arrived at the end of his journey, he has just one more card to meet. And guess what? She isn't wearing any clothes. I don't know why I'd expect anything else.
Welcome, Fool. You've travelled so far, but you've finally reached the end of the road.
3 cheers for the Fool! Hip hip! Oh.
Perhaps there's just enough time to say goodbye to some friends you've met along the way.
Oh no, I hate goodbyes. Has anyone got a tissue?
Don't worry, you'll be seeing them again before long.
Abracadabra, now go and make magic happen.
Bye, Fool. Don't forget to trust your intuition.
Ta-ta, my lovely. Here's a packed lunch for you.
So long, son. Be powerful and you won't go far wrong.
Goodbye, Fool. See you at church.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. Keep your heart open, my love.
Godspeed, old chap. Let me know if you need any enemies vanquished.
Stay strong, Fool. Kindness will always win.
Goodbye, my friend. Take your time and the answers will come. Be lucky, Fool. You'll always be a winner to us.
Justice has prevailed. You're free to go.
Take it easy, friend. Don't let your world turn upside down.
Goodbye, traveller. Call me if you need someone to cut your grass.
Stay balanced, Fool. Think before you act.
Have a diabolical time, Fool.
Take care, handsome.
Aye, keep your pecker up.
See ya. We're just off to the estate agents.
Keep your light shining brightly and never lose hope, Fool. Watch out for false fears, my friend. They'll only hold you back.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? No, probably not. Still, the outlook is bright for you. Take care, sunshine.
Look after yourself, Fool. You've certainly risen to the occasion.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me. This has been the greatest journey of my whole life.
How many have you been on?
1.
And now, my dear traveller, it's time for me to return you to the world from whence you came. Are you ready?
Yeah, okay. Just one more thing. What did you teach me?
Why, the dance of life, my precious child. You don't need to walk this path anymore. Now you can dance your way along, feeling the wonder in every moment and knowing in your heart that everything will always work out in the end.
Now go forth into the world and be the greatest fool in the whole universe.
I will. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank God for that.
He was hard work, wasn't he?
Can I take my foot out of this pond now?
Does anyone fancy a pint?
The Fool finds himself right back where he started, but now a changed man, full of wisdom, maturity and understanding.
Wow, that was one hell of a journey. I've never felt better in all my days. I'm going to get out there and show the world the new me.
To be not continued. The end. Or the beginning. Depending on how you look at it.
Welcome back to Kippy's Quest. We've made it all the way to the end of the Major Arcana. I can't believe I'm finally at the end of my journey. Yeah, about that. We are going to be journeying through the Minor Arcana now. And how many of those are there? 56.
So when you say we've made it all the way to the end, what you actually mean is that we're not even a third of the way through it yet.
Pretty much. But hey, look on the bright side. We're going to get to meet kings and queens and all kinds of interesting characters. There's a happy looking soul right there. Is the dog coming with us again? Yeah. Anyway, let's not worry about that right now. This video is all about the last card in the trumps, the World. This is a card of completion and success. We've been through all the highs and lows of the Major Arcana and finally made it to the end of this particular cycle. Now we get to bask in the sense of pure satisfaction we get from carrying something through to its natural conclusion. Now this is not the easiest card to read, as it's basically a symbol of everything. In the Thoth Tarot, Crowley named it the universe. You may have noticed that these videos have been getting more and more metaphysical the nearer we've got to the end of the trumps, and this card is no exception. You could view this image as the embodiment of all the archetypes that have led up to it. We talk about how the card relates to completion and achievement, but perhaps more than that is the indefinable feeling of oneness that builds through the tarot sequence and culminates in this card. Rachel Pollack says, what can we say of an understanding, of freedom and rapture beyond words, the unconscious known consciously, the outer self unified with the forces of life, knowledge that is not knowledge at all but a constant ecstatic dance of being. Arthur Edward Waite's historical description is assured success, recompense, voyage, route, emigration, flight and change of place. The Visconti-Sforza Tarot shows the world as a castle in a globe held up by two cherubs.
So what's this Viscount business all about then? A brief history of the Visconti-Sforza Tarot.
The Visconti-Sforza Tarot is a collection of 15 incomplete tarot decks that date back to the 15th century. They are the oldest surviving tarot cards and come from a time when they were called triumphi, which means triumphs or trumps. The cards were commissioned by the Duke of Milan, Filippo Maria Visconti, and his son-in-law, Francesco Sforza. The cards are notable for the intricate designs and materials used, and are considered to be the originators of the modern-day tarot. The Tarot de Marseille brings us a near-identical image to the Waite-Smith card, but it's safe to say that they were both heavily inspired by Christ in Majesty. This is the depiction of Jesus surrounded by the four evangelists that carries through the Bible from Ezekiel to Revelation. The world is most certainly an evolution of this concept. In the centre of the card we find the dancer, floating with a wand in each hand. Waite says, within this garland there is the figure of a woman, whom the wind has girt about the loins with a light scarf. Not sure if Waite was entirely comfortable when he was describing this one. She's in the act of dancing and has a wand in either hand. It is eloquent as an image of the swirl of the sensitive life, of joy attained in the body, of the soul's intoxication in the earthly paradise. The dancer is thought to be connected to Hermaphroditus, who in Greek mythology was the child of Aphrodite and Hermes. According to the legend, he was merged with Salmacis and became a hermaphrodite. This ties in closely with the notion of the uniting of opposites that's been mentioned throughout the Major Arcana. In this case, the blending of the feminine with the masculine. Comparisons have also been made to the Hindu deity Shiva, who is often depicted dancing with one leg raised, in a manner quite similar to the dancer on the world card.
The Fool tries dating. This'll be good.
Excuse me, would you like to dance?
Oh, yes, I'd love to.
Oh, great. Can I have your chair? Surrounding the figure we see a garland, tied at the top and bottom with the same infinity symbols that are present in the Magician and Strength cards. Not only do these suggest the endless cycles of the universe, but also their position intimates the occult maxim, as above, so below. According to Waite, this is the kind of chain which Eliphas Levi says is less easily broken than a chain of iron. Finally, we can see that the garland is in the shape of a zero, which brings us right back to the Fool at the beginning of the sequence, and so the cycle begins again. In the corners of the card, we can see the same four characters returning from their appearance in the Wheel of Fortune back at number 10. Waite says the four living creatures of the Apocalypse and Ezekiel's vision, attributed to the evangelists in Christian symbolism, are grouped about an elliptic garland. As we talked about in the video for the wheel, these have many associations, from the archangels to the elements, from the fixed signs of the zodiac to the four beings mentioned in Revelations. However, what matters the most in the context of this card is that they represent divinity. According to Waite, the dancer is guarded by the divine watchers, as if by the powers and graces of the holy name, Tetragrammaton, Yud-He-Vav-He, those four ineffable letters which are sometimes attributed to the mystical beasts.
But what does it all mean?
As I said earlier, this can be a tough one to pin down, as the divinatory meanings barely scratch the surface of this particular trump. Rachel Pollack says descriptions, metaphors, even contemplation can only hint at the wonders embodied in Trump 21. As with all the Major Arcana cards, and particularly the final 7, we have to take the archetypal concepts and boil them down into something that's relevant to us. In the case of the world, we generally take it to mean a satisfactory ending, or a successful conclusion. Travel seems to be another aspect that people have picked up on over the centuries. I would imagine that this comes from the title, and the fact that the central figure is in motion, but it also brings us back to the idea of a journey of self-discovery, or finding ourselves as it's sometimes called. This is literally what the Fool's journey is all about. I know that I keep coming back to the concept of becoming one with the universe, but this truly is the card that epitomizes that idea. According to Paul Foster Case, here is a representation of what you really are, and of what the cosmos really is. The universe is the dance of life, the immortal central self of you. That is the eternal dance. When the world appears upside down, it can mean the opposite of the movement aspect of the card. Waite mentions inertia, fixity, stagnation, permanence. Whether that's a positive or a negative would depend on the context, but lack of movement would be the message here. Perhaps feeling like you're stuck in a situation, like a job or a relationship, could be a good way of looking at the reversed world. Again, it's difficult to attribute this card to the mundanities of everyday life, but of course we have to do that if we're going to make sense of it in a spread. Rachel Pollack says these are the meanings of the world in divination. Its true meanings are unknowable. They're a goal, a hope, an intuition. The way to that goal, the steps and music of the dance, lies in the living images of the Major Arcana.
Correspondence Corner!
The world sits on the 32nd path of the Tree of Life between Yesod and Malkut. This is the path between foundation and kingdom. It corresponds to the Hebrew letter Tav, which means cross. Its musical note is A natural.
Hey, 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 hey.
Its corresponding herb is comfrey, and its planets are Saturn and Earth.
2 planets for the world.
Ooh!
So here we are at the end of the Tarot Trumps. The big takeaway for the world is the concept of completion, making it all the way to the end. Waite says it represents also the perfection and end of the cosmos, the secret which is within it, the rapture of the universe when it understands itself in God. On a personal level, I think our whole lives are made up of successes in one way or another, and this card is the embodiment of that. Oh, looks like he is coming with us. Anyway, I wanted to leave you with this quote from Eckhart Tolle, which I think sums up the world perfectly. There are 3 words that convey the secret of the art of living, the secret of all success and happiness. One with life. Being one with life is being one with now. You then realize that you don't live your life, but life lives you. Life is the dancer, and you are the dance.
Thank you for joining us on the final card of the Trumps. We hope to see you again as we journey through the minor arcana. May the coming days bring you completion, fulfillment, and we hope you'll be successful in liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Until next time.